I would just like to say one sentence in Urdu and then I will continue, and that is for Brigadier Janjua. बहुत शुक्रिया. आप ये भी चाहते हैं कि हम माजी से पीछा छुड़ाएं और बुलाया हमें हुआ है जो कि माजी हैं. मर्जी आपकी. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I think a lot has been said, and I will try to save your time, sir, by not repeating all the, because we have talked about nature and character of war and how it has changed, so I'll not go over it, but I will pick up two strands in this, and I'll talk about it. Then the nature of forces, I think we must be talking, and it was one of your questions that if a weaker side cannot fight in those areas which are the strength of your opponent, then what do you do? So I will give you a hint that it is not that we can do nothing, we can do something. And you have seen people doing that thing very close to our neighborhood. And then who should articulate the war of today? I will also say a few words about that. So the first thing about the nature and character of war, which I will pick up, leaving aside the technology, which of course is a part of it, and what I'm going to talk, it is also related to technology. All wars are directed to break the will of the opponent. This we all understand. Will to resist, will to fight. So it is very important to know that where does that will reside? वो will है किधर? Where it is found? Because only then you will be able to target it. In the times of kingdoms, it was in the personality of a king. So if you, kill him, or if you take away his power base, the will would have been broken. This also happens in case of dictatorships, where few people are running everything. So if you break their will, the will is broken. But I think in democratic dispensations, the will is distributed. It is distributed in the polity of a society. And therefore, it should be difficult to defeat a society where the will is not found at one point. But then technology has made this thing easy. The reach of social media, the reach of the technology today makes it possible to actually attack a number of minds at a time. Because if you can defeat the minds of a society, you will break their will, and it will be easy to overcome them. If the society accepts the themes like we are not a nation, we are just sheep, like herd of sheep, and directionless. Our economy is such that we are just lying down, we are on our knees, we cannot react, we have no capacity to say anything, we cannot say no. So if this is what is in your mind, so you are already defeated. So there's no need for the enemy to do anything else. So all wars are directed against the will, and we must always evaluate that what is the will of the society, how it is being attacked, and who all are being attacked. Then naturally, we've been talking about the technological, prowesses and military and all that, but I think the greatest weapon of any big country today is their ability to manage the perception management of the opponent of a country. And that is what is actually going on. That is the war, which is the war of today. Second point which I will bring out, I will not like to dilate much more on that because there's a very learned audience, they understand all this. The nature of leadership who has to fight this war. Let us, if I limit it to the military leadership, a general takes about 25 to 30 years to travel the rank distance from a lieutenant, second lieutenant to a general. And if he thinks that today the lieutenant or the major sitting in his unit thinks the same way, leads the same type of life, has the same requirements which I had as a captain or a major, then probably he is out of sync. It is a difficult thing to do. If you are from the past and you want to live in the present, or you want to project yourself in the future, it is not an easy thing. You have to be very learned, you have to be very flexible, and for a military mind to be flexible is a paradox, or it is a difficult thing, I can say. because it is not that we are made of something else. We have been trained in a way, we have been nurtured in a way, we are straight-jacketed in a way that it is difficult for us to change our minds. And it is required in the army, by the way, up to a certain level. It is required up to, let us say, lieutenant colonel level. And then beyond that, you require a lot of flexibility and things. And then everybody, it is not everybody's job to really get into those shoes. But anyway, so we have already ascertained that kinetic warfare is just a portion of the overall wars that are being fought. If that be so, then let me come to my second point, which is nature of forces, which should be organized, trained, equipped to fight back. If the major portion of the threat is non-kinetic, then how can a big kinetic force fight back this type of threat? This is just a question, I mean, which means that the money which you are putting in to defeat the threat must be proportional to the nature of the threat. Now, who's doing this in our scenario? Is ISI doing it or ISPR doing it? Of course, they are doing a lot. They are doing their bit. Are they trained for that? Are they equipped for that? Of course, they are trying to equip themselves, and that is happening. The psychological warfare, the media warfare. But who is actually the specialist of doing it? And who should be actually asked to do it? This is a question which I leave here, and we can also discuss it in the question-answer session. So, the organization of the forces, the composition of the forces, the proportioning of the forces should be just according to the nature of war which is being fought. If we are all aware that the nature of war is this, and we are proportioned for this, then who is going to cover this gap in between? So this brings me to this last point, just to save the time also, that then who should articulate this modern war, if it is a hybrid war, in which there is economic warfare going on. We have all heard about, we have read that book of Economic Hitman. We know, I'm talking about perception management. We know the political interferences and all that. So how will you groom that person? How will you groom that commander? How will you groom that person who should be articulating this warfare? Not only in the defensive domain, also in the offensive domain. Unless you know economy, unless you know how to hit the opponent's economy, unless you know how to manage the perception of the opponent, how will you fight out this war? So, in my opinion, you need a very well clued up, trained mind who must have the military sense, who must have the economic sense, who must have the political sense, and then be able to, of course, it is difficult to find it in one person. So that means then you should compose an advisory group of this nature, which should have all these, specialities, and they should be asked to prepare defensive plans and offensive plans, and then it should be articulated in some central way so that this can be fought. I will stop here, and then we can cover it in question and answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jafar. Thank you so much.